Are you a fan of Godber?
Massive.
Massive.
Huge fan of Godber, yeah.
It's an everyman type of situation. Shakers, bouncers.
Yeah.
The show that you're doing, Up and Under, Lucky Sods. I think what's beautiful is that everyman accessibility, if you will.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean but that's John Godber himself, isn't it? Because he the origin of the success of the Loft Theatre company was him saying,
Yeah.
rather than let this theatre die,
Yeah.
how can I get your average Hull punter
Yeah.
to be interested in coming to the theatre?
Yeah.
And that's behind the writing of Up and Under.
It is amazing, isn't it? He did for Hull what Alan Ayckbourn did for Scarborough.
Yeah.
And it's not got that London gloss. It's just real. It's down to earth. It's gritty.
Yeah.
How did you cast this one then, Up and Under? Talk about your casting.
I think I had seen you in a couple of things already,
Yeah.
but in Weird Sisters, Connor's ability to handle, well, it's timing. He's got exquisite
Yes.
timing.
Yeah.
And in my back pocket for the past 25 years, I've had a rolled up script of bouncers thinking, when am I going to find 4 men
Yeah.
that are going to be able? I said, I've always wanted to do this, and you're it. So he was my first pick. You need to know, I think, if you're going to direct a Godber, that you've got a cast that can do it.
Of course.
And this is why I like Godber. There are no tiny parts.
Yeah.
You know, you've all got to be equally good.
Yeah.
And I knew I had one, and I thought, if I've got one,
Yeah.
I can get the rest.
Okay.
And we always hold open auditions here. So it's, I suppose the pressure was on you, really.
So you know you have one person, but you still need to make sure that that one person works cohesively with the other 3 people, because you can't have just one person in kind of clashing against other people.
No.
Otherwise the whole thing just falls apart. I was sold on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's more credit to yourself as a director, because obviously you want to repeat working with people who you enjoy that process with. You know, because here we are on our 3rd show now, and I'm not sick of it yet, and likewise the other way around. So.
You know, there's got to be a comfort zone, and if there's a comfort zone, eventually a chemistry.
So I think purely because there were a few people who said they couldn't make the audition on the day but could come in earlier, I think you kind of said to a couple of us, would you mind coming in, doing a reading with a couple of other folks, just because we want to see if they're, fit, they can't make it to the day.
Yeah.
But other than that, I turned up on the audition day, or to the read-through as well.
Yeah.
Like with Mark and Charlie and Paul, we all auditioned. There was people being moved in and out, and the same process as it ever is.
So how long do you take, Lorna, then, after an audition? How long does it take to cast a show?
So it's one of those things that I think that you know when you're looking at somebody, especially if you've got the whole picture in your mind rather than just the individual character they're reading for. So I've had people read and they've said they only want to do that character, and I know they'd be much better in a different character, but they're quite rigid and that's all they want. So for me, it's always pretty fast. I know as I'm watching them go through the audition, whose voices work together, whose timing is right there, right now, and who can bring out the best. That's the thing I like about the Godber scripts. If you get the right group of people, they all grow doing it.
Yeah.
So do they have the ability to support each other?
Yeah.
Because it can be rough, can't it? There can be those moments where somebody's off their game.
Like on a rehearsal night?
Yeah, and you don't need a prima donna.
Okay.
You need the others to step in and lift them up rather than focus on any weaknesses or deficits.
I don't think a prima donna and John Godber would last, would it?
Absolutely not.
Especially a bloody Up and Under, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why audiences like to watch Godber, especially if they're new to Godber, because you might go with the idea that somebody's going to be the star of this show, And actually, what you get is you get 4 stars in one night. You get,
Yeah.
I think you're surprised as an audience
Yeah.
by the quality of that each person has to bring to it to make the whole successful. And when that works, it's really a thrill for them.